Hello and welcome to Hoosier Adventures. My name's Jim, and we've got an exciting video tonight. It's the Ghost Minnow. Now this is a jig that I started tying when I first started doing this, and I've caught a lot of crappie on this jig, and it's a great summertime jig. It's a great early spring jig, and it's actually a really good ice fishing jig too. And we're going to kind of start things in reverse tonight. So I want to show you a video. We're going to take the jig out. We're going to fish it. You're going to see it in the water. And then we're going to come back in here and we're going to tie this jig up together. And for those of you that want to tie along with me, basically here's the materials. Okay, so we're going to be using craft fur. Okay, and we're going to be using a black and silver flash on it. We're going to be using craft fur that is minnow gray, and then we're going to be using craft fur that's a crystal white. Okay, so you want to get the light blue, the crystal white, and the shag gray, along with the black and silver crystal, the flash. Okay, so watch the video, enjoy, and then we'll come back in and tie this jig up. And hopefully you guys can catch a lot of crappie. So enjoy the video. So I get asked a lot of questions about how I test the jigs that I tie. And so this morning I'm doing a little bit of what I consider R&D on this Ghost jig that we're going to tie on the channel tonight. And I'm using a strike indicator, and I'm using a very special rod, one that very near and dear to my heart. This is an Eagle Claw, and this rod dates back to the 70s, and I really like it. It's a shorter rod, but it functions very well. I'm also using a 4-pound test high vis line, and I've tied a loop knot. Now the strike indicator, you can set your depth with it. We've talked about this in other videos. I got plenty of videos out there on these, and you know, I highly encourage you to check those out. They work really well in ponds or in the springtime when, you know, the crappie are shallow and stuff. These strike indicators can be a real positive, and it's just a ton of fun, you know, to fish underneath a slip bobber. It just makes for me, it makes the excitement so much more enjoyable. So we're gonna toss this out there, and you know, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just bumping that strike indicator to give the jig a little bit of life. Now I don't tip with anything, maybe every now and then a crappie nibble, but I'm looking to see, you know, what kind of action I can get. Now obviously you can see that the rain has been we just don't get it, I'll put it that way. So I'm kind of playing with depth here just a little bit to figure out my depth here, and then you know, kind of fish it exactly how I would if I was in a pond. Now the strike indicator stood up that time, which means that I'm well shallow enough with my jig. So but there's just a handful of things, and I apologize for all the weeds. So the water is actually supposed to be right here, so you can see how far down it is. We just have had, really in the last 6 years, we just have not gotten any rain. And I know there's other parts of the country that you know, I have had you know, excessive amounts. Even in Indiana, southern Indiana has had excessive amounts of rain this year, but we have not. So when I go to tie a jig on a channel, a lot of times this is exactly what I've done to you know, talk to you folks about, you know, like the badass jig, you know. And then now we're getting ready to do a video on the badass jig on steroids, because it's a the twin tail is just freaking phenomenal. So we had plenty of people comment that wanted to see it put together, and so I want to share that with you guys. But today's venture is just trying out this jig so that you guys can kind of see how I'm playing with it. Now we've got a west-northwest wind today, so the wind's coming at me, which is good. Fish tend to face the, but here's that jig wet, and it's pretty, it's got a lot of flash to it. It's got, you know, it's there to represent, you know, a minnow. So we're gonna play with it here just a little bit. If I hook up, I'll bring you guys back and you can kind of see what I'm catching. So be back with you in just a second. Well, he ain't nothing too big, that's for sure, but it's definitely a sign of a very healthy pond. This is a small largemouth bass, and caught it over there by the trees. So we'll let him go, grow up to be big, strong, and beautiful. I'm gonna drop that down, fish a little bit more shallower up in there. So part of, you know, pond fishing is figuring out all the right depths and stuff, and what the fish like and don't like. So I just make a handful of small changes. Obviously, there's a fish. Whoop, lost him. That was a crappie. So just by making that small 4-inch depth change, made a world of difference, or so it appears anyway. So this is a good little jig. This is a great summertime jig. And that's the Ghost Minnow. We're going to tie that jig tonight so you guys can see how it's put together, and who knows, maybe that'll catch you guys some fish. So there's what it looks like underneath that Ninja strike indicator. And basically that craft fur flares out, which gives it a ton of movement and mimics a distressed minnow. And you know, that kind of action right there, it actually, you know, as skinny as it is and the way I tie this, it almost doubles in size and magnifies just a little bit in the water. I wanted to show you that because as you can see, it really gives the jig a lot of motion. And you know, unfortunately this morning, you know, we didn't have a lot of breeze, or you know, you can imagine this underneath this strike indicator with, you know, some ripples on the water, what it's doing under the water. It can be quite impressive. So we're gonna tie this jig up for you guys and show you how it's done. And for those of you that are just getting started and stuff in tying, we'll go slow enough that you guys can kind of tie with us. This is a great jig to basically practice with. It's not an easy one, but it's a doable one. So, and this jig is a great vertical fishing jig, as you can see. I mean, you know, if you're vertical jigging without any kind of slip bobber or anything, it's got a ton of movement in it, and I think it induces strikes that normally you wouldn't see. But you know, that's what the jig looks like out of the water. Look how thin it looks, and then when you put it in the water, look how it doubles up. I mean, it just literally, and that's that craft fur, guys. You know, and we're going to talk about that when we tie, but that's the buoyancy of it, and how it makes things kind of magnified. Now, we didn't catch a lot of fish down there today. Who knows why? Maybe this afternoon we'll give it another shot down there. It was much cooler, dropped down to 68 last night, so that could affect some things. And I may not have got my depth perfect. You know, I just more or less wanted to see what this jig was going to look like under this strike indicator. So let's head inside and see what we can get accomplished. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Caught a couple fish, caught a nice crappie, and actually lost it. I was jibber jabbering and I didn't get a good hook set on it. Fishing was a little slow this morning, so we had a kind of a cold snap last night. So the jig we're going to be tying, obviously, is this what I call the Ghost Minnow. Okay, this is a phenomenal jig, and as you can see in the video, the craft fur has a lot of buoyancy to it, and it almost doubles in size as it swims. Now you can run. Well, I fish with it with a Ninja strike indicator out there, and it flows really good with it, and you can retrieve this. Okay, and it's got the same kind of pulsating as you're kind of bringing it back in and stuff. So this is a great jig, guys, I'm telling you, and it works really well. So hopefully you guys got your materials in front of you, and if not, you can always go back and replay the video and get yourselves tied up here. So okay, here we go. So I start every one of my jigs with the same process. We're going to start with the hardest nail glue. We're just going to put this right down the shank. I want to make sure that the thread really locks into that shank hook. Now this is a 1/32 ounce with a number 6 sickle hook, round ball jig. Now I prefer the rounds. I like the way they work in the water. I like the way they fall. Okay, but you can tie it on whatever jig head you prefer too. So we're going to wrap all the way down to our hook point. Okay, you know, and make sure that your thread is nice and snug on that jig shank. Okay, right back to the head, and just trim off that excess. Okay, so we're going to start with the darker color first. Okay, because as you know, we're going to flip this upside down, and this is actually what the fish are going to see. So I want to start with that darker color on the bottom. Okay, it's going to really help highlight that that jig. Okay, so craft fur, as you can see, you kind of comb it out, and it comes on this little fabric card here. And what I like to do is twist it up here at the bottom. Okay, and once I make my cut, I want to clean this end. I want to make sure all that's cleaned off of there. You'll see a lot of straggler hairs come off of that. Okay, then what I want to do is I'm going to trim it. As you can see, it's a little bit off, just a little bit. Let's get that even. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this about right there. Couple loose wraps and then snug it down. Keep this centered. Okay, it's important that you keep that centered. And then wrap this down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the excess back. And wrap this all the way up. And we're going to put a couple whip finish ties in there. So it's important on this layering that you put you a couple ties in there. It's going to really lock all this together. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my next color. Okay. We'll worry about trimming everything once we get the jig all tied together. So we're going to go to the blue. Let's get this gray out of the way. This makes a great, you know, jig for, especially if where you're fishing in clear water. This jig really stands out. And as you can see in the video, my pond is dyed. It's dyed a blue. And that really enhances this jig, this Ghost jig in the water. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. And basically you want to try to get your hairs so that, and I just put a twist down here so that when I cut, I'm getting in there as close as I can. And then I'm cleaning it. Now, we're going to start this tie. See that little, where we stopped with the gray? We're going to tie this one in real close to that proximity right there. Okay? So, we're going to go loose. And then we're going to pull it back. Then we're going to fill this gap up now. Between the head and here, we're going to fill that up with our thread. We want that even now. This material has such great buoyancy in the water that it just gives it that, it almost doubles in size. If you notice that when this is wet, and I'll throw a picture up here, when this is wet, it's very streamlined. I mean, it looks just like a minnow, okay? But when it's dry, it's kind of puffy. Well, in the water, it kind of pulsates and almost doubles in size, which gives the fish, you know, in my opinion, gives the fish a great target. It looks like a minnow that's kind of in distress, okay? So, you know, it truly activates a strike. Okay, so now comes our crystal flash, okay? And basically what we want to do is we want to line this crystal flash in here along the sides, okay? And just take your time when you're tying this. This jig's not the easiest jig in the world to tie, but it's worth it because it's a ton of fun on the water. Now I'm doubling that flash over, and I'm going to put some right on its back. You want to start it right here on the side with a couple loose. Just like that, okay? And then we want to bring this one back across the back here. Just like that. Okay, so now comes our white. Okay, the white is probably the most important because this is what's going to trigger your bite. Okay. We're going to use the white and kind of just spread it out around the shank here. It's a little messy to work with, but man, it makes a fantastic jig. And kind of trim some stuff here. Okay, so now we're going to whip finish this in, and we'll trim our jig the rest of the way up. This jig catches everything from smallmouth, largemouth, crappie, bluegill. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal jig. It's definitely a fun jig to fish. It's kind of one of those deals you just don't know what you're going to get until you reel it in. Now we're going to bring everything symmetrical. A lot of hairs get trapped in there, so you'll do a little bit of trimming on it. There you go. And I trim just to make it symmetrical in the water. But it's definitely a fan favorite for the fish. All right, so now we're going to finish this up with just a little bit of UV glue. I want to lock all this stuff in there because this jig takes a beating. And there you have it, guys. That's the Ghost Minnow right there. And that is one bad jig, especially up underneath docks. I mean, it is kick butt bad. Great in timber. It's got, on a 1/32 ounce, it's got a great fall to it. Those hairs kind of pulsate down through there and really give it a lot of good action and stuff. As you can see in the video, you can fish this under a slip bobber. You can do a ninja strike indicator on days where you've got some real choppy water. This thing is just phenomenal in the water. It's just got a ton of action in it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's video. Please do me a favor if you did. Give me a thumbs up. It really truly helps the channel. It doesn't cost you a dime. And if you're inclined, hit that subscription button and that notification bell. Again, we greatly appreciate all of your support. And I got a ton of comments on the last video. We are going to do the badass jig on steroids. I'm going to put it together. I'm actually working on a video now for that. So that'll be coming probably the middle or latter part of next week. You know, we really truly appreciate all of you guys supporting the channel and stuff. And you know, we're only a few weeks away from the getting the who wins the giveaway for the 60 videos this year so far, and looking forward to getting that in the hands of the winner, and hopefully seeing a ton of pictures and stuff from all the fish they catch. again, guys, we really encourage you to you know, give us a thumbs up. It's just the way the YouTube algorithm works. It helps us grow the channel. It allows me to do what I do. I mean, you know, right now I completely financially support the channel, and I do it because I love doing it. I love tying jigs. I love sharing that stuff with you, but there's a lot of other things that we'd like to incorporate, and we will also be putting a couple of these jigs in with the giveaway. So whoever wins is going to get one of these, or a couple of these jigs. And as you can see, it's just got a phenomenal layer of different colors here that are vibrant and especially mild to clear water. So hopefully you guys are able to tie up a few of these and give them a shot. So greatly appreciate you guys stopping by, and hopefully you enjoyed the video tonight. Good night, everybody. We'll see you on the next video, and always remember, please be kind.